Tonight on the Pioneer Sideline, conference tune-up. The men's and women's soccer teams play their last games before diving into their River State's conference schedule.
In the win column, the volleyball team nets its first conference win of the season. The inside story is next.
And going pro, which sport is the hardest to make the leap from amateur to pro? We'll debate.
All that and more, shall we? Let's head on down to the Pioneer Sideline. Good evening and welcome to the Pioneer Sideline. I'm Josh Krupp.
And I'm Mike Turk. A University Athletic Hall of Fame includes the best of the best athletes and coaches to ever walk through the halls of that school.
And this weekend, Point Park will induct 2 new members into its Hall of Fame. First, former Point Park soccer player Angela Oliveri. She played at the university from 2006 to 2009 and becomes the first women's soccer player enshrined in Point Park's Athletic Hall of Fame. She's the all-time leading scorer with 45 goals and over 100 career points. She's also the only player in team history to be named All-Conference all 4 years.
Also getting inducted this Saturday is Lindsay Oberacker, who played volleyball at the university from 2009 to 2012. Oberacker becomes the 4th volleyball player to be inducted. Oberacker, who played outside for the Pioneers, will be a first ballot inductee. She is the all-time kills leader at Point Park and is one of 5 players to record over 1,000 kills and 1,000 digs. Oberacker helped the program win its first conference championship and reach the NAIA National Tournament back in 2011. The 2 new inductees bring the Hall of Fame total to 58 individuals and 1 team.
And Mike, you had the opportunity to talk to Lindsay. What was her reaction to getting inducted?
Oh, she was so excited. She actually didn't realize that she was eligible to be nominated. It takes 5 years, and once that 5 years comes, you can be inducted. She was so excited to get the phone call from Dan Swalga and Coach Mike Bruno, who nominated her.
Oh, yeah.
So she was very grateful, and she thanked her teammates. That's one of the first things she did.
No, those 5 years must have went by really quickly. Like these last 3 already have, so I can't imagine what the next 5 are like. So she thanked her teammates. The team right now, as it stands, Mike Bruno still the head coach. Let's get caught up to speed on the Point Park volleyball team. Where are we at so far?
Well, they played at Carlo last Tuesday night. They went in there. They took the first two sets of the match, and they were looking pretty good. Coach Bruno was not happy with his team's performance this week. They dropped the third set, 27-25, and then they ended up dominating in the fourth to get out of there. They hit 355 for that match, and they also went home this weekend against Salem International. And they played pretty well. Ashley Taylor went down in practice this past week with a left ankle injury. That was a little bit of a heartbreaker for the team, so we'll see how they react to that.
Is Taylor going to be out for an extended period of time?
She is out tonight's game against Rio Grande. She has high hopes on playing this coming weekend at home, though.
I'm glad you mentioned the Rio Grande game because that's what we wanted to talk about next. The importance of this game tonight, considering the team is 1-2 in conference play. They did get that first win out of the way at Carlo, which was good, but they did also drop the first 2.
Well, here's a good sign, Josh. Point Park swept Salem International without their top player. Salem beat Rio 3-1 a few weeks ago, earlier this month. So that's going to be a good sign going in there. Now, you don't want to have your guard down too much, but this is going to be a big game. They like to get to that 500 record at 2-2 in the conference.
That surprises me because Salem's record was not good going into the game at Point Park, and they beat Rio.
2 wins, and one of them was against Rio.
And Rio's the team that Point Park always seems to struggle with. They're the team that always gives Point Park the majority of the headaches on the season. Last week, the only loss in the year. What do you have for the team moving forward after this Rio game?
Well, hopefully we'll see Ashley Taylor back this weekend. That's going to be huge. Savannah Dishman will go back to the middle. It's looking pretty good this weekend for the Pioneers if they can stay healthy.
Well, Mike, thanks a lot for your coverage. Coming up after the break, the women's soccer team had its final non-conference test over the weekend before conference play begins. The results and the analysis.
And later, what sport our analysts say is the hardest to make it to the pros? We'll be right back.
What would you do to create something that could survive 1,000 years? You'd start with a formula. head to the lab and forge it with fire. Just imagine everything it could do. It could leak pollutants into the soil and water, or it could conserve energy, cut CO2 emissions, and reduce raw material. Recycling is more than cutting waste. Recycling is about the legacy you want to leave. Why on earth would you want to do anything else? Recycle. Don't throw away our chance at survival.
UView Television is live here at the Center for Media Innovation with a very exclusive interview with Point Park's Black Diamond, our school mascot. We're taking questions on our social media at UView Television.
Our first question came in from @PointParkU. Black Diamond, they want to know, what is one thing you love about Point Park?
UView.
I knew it.
UView's the best.
It is. All right, Alex, you want to read our next question?
Okay, we have another question from Point Park Cab. They're asking, when is the next time you're going to make a surprise appearance at their next event?
He's being coy. Looks like we're going to have to show up.
Yeah,
to
I guess we'll have to see.
All right, that's all we have for right now, but you can submit your own questions at UView Television, and we might read one of yours after the break.
Welcome back. The women's soccer team traveled to nearby Geneva College last weekend for the final tune-up before conference play.
Point Park dropped the game in a 1-0 final after winning 3 straight games. All of them were shutouts. Point Park is currently 3-4 heading into conference play this weekend. First up is Asbury University on Thursday, followed by a date with Cincinnati Christian Saturday.
Here to break down last week's women's soccer action is Allison Schubert. Allison, how are the players and coaches feeling heading into this week with the conference schedule on deck?
Well, obviously those 3 shutouts in a row really increased their confidence, but that one tough loss to Geneva may have dampened their confidence just a little bit. So I'm very curious to see how they're going to do going into Asbury on Thursday, see if they can get that confidence back up.
Let's look at that week going into the Geneva game. A 1-0 loss there, but before then, 2 games on the road, 1 in Washington, 1 in Buffalo. Did the travel and getting 2 shutouts on the road, did that have anything did that impact the team whenever they went to Geneva?
Well, you know, I got to talk to Coach about this actually, and she said that the travel has had a pretty big impact on the team so far, being on a bus for hours on end, playing a game, coming back, more hours on the bus. So I think that their tiredness has really gotten to them, and I think that had a big effect with the Geneva game.
Now, with 2 games coming up, Asbury and Cincinnati Christian, both on the road, what would happen to the mentality of this team if they were to drop these first 2 conference games?
Honestly, I think they'd be a little bit crushed. They have, like I just said, they dropped that one to Geneva, and that really dampened their confidence. So I think losing their first 2 conference games after last year having so much success when beginning conference play, I think that would maybe hurt them going into the long run.
I'll turn that around and ask, what would 2 wins do this weekend against Asbury and Cincy Christian?
It all goes back to the mentality and the confidence, like I've been saying this entire week. If they won those 2 games, I think that would be a huge, huge boost for them going into the rest of conference play, especially coming back home on October 6th.
I'll ask you one more question. You talk about this mentality of the team. Getting in the win column, getting a few shutouts, who had the biggest confidence boost on that team moving forward, and how do those wins, looking back and saying, look, we shut out a couple teams, we scored goals, we have a lot of offense at our exposure, how does that impact the team moving forward?
I think individually, like players who had the biggest confidence boost would be Ashton Webb, who's been huge in goal for them this regular season so far. She was new coming to the team. Well, she was on the team last year, but she was new as a starter coming on this team her sophomore year, and she's gotten those shutouts under her belt, so I think that's a huge confidence boost for them, and I think that can be very vital to them going into conference play.
Well, thanks a lot, Allison. We'll see how that all works out this weekend. The men's soccer team, they're also ready for conference play to begin this weekend, and they're going to travel with the women to Asbury and Cincinnati Christian. Last week, I had the chance to catch up with Alan Ramos, the leading scorer for the Pioneers. Here's what he had to say about how the team has evolved since dropping its first 2 games of the regular season.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the first couple of games really helped us, get to know each other better. I mean, the first couple of games we were a little bit rusty. And I think slowly as the games went on, after every practice, every game, we just keep improving. So we're starting to know each other. We're getting, we're knowing where our runs are going and everything. So, it's only uphill from now, I think.
Interview there, Josh. Now let's talk a little Point Park men's soccer. This team has not played since September 18th. Is too much rest a bad thing or good thing for this team coming up?
I personally think it's not a good thing. We will find out, because whenever they started to get on a roll, they went shutout after shutout after shutout, some at home, some on the road. So they got a nice mix of wins at home and on the road, getting all those shutouts, and they were playing consistently. They were getting in a rhythm. I worry that this long rest has had some effect, because once you get off of that streak, the momentum starts to dip a little bit. You got to go on the road. Asbury's not an easy road trip. It's a long bus ride. The legs hurt whenever you get off, so I hesitate to say that it will have a good effect on them. We, of course, have our fingers crossed that it will.
Scored 22 goals in 5 games. How big is this confidence booster for this team?
Well, it's a huge confidence booster, because the first 2 games they lost by a combined score of 11-1. Those were 2 really good teams looking back. Florida National beat Point Park 4-0 in the first game. They haven't lost since. Florida National's a really solid team, and once Point Park was able to start scoring, they were able to start generating some offense. They were able to figure out who their goal scorers are. Those first 2 games also, they didn't have Josh Williams. They're one of their best players, if not their best player, and he's a defender. So we excuse the first 2 losses and move on. Alan Ramos has really carried the team, as he has in the past couple years. There are a couple other players that have stepped up. Roberto Whitley, of course, always scoring goals in the team, but the temper issue gets him a lot of yellow cards occasionally, and so we'll watch to see how his discipline progresses throughout the season. But as far as the confidence boost, it's certainly getting all those goals, more than 20 in the last 5 games. 5-game winning streak certainly helps.
All right, thank you, Josh. Coming up after the break, which MLB rookie broke a 30-year record?
And the cross-country teams crossed the finish line at Lock Haven. The results are next. Stay with us.
I shouldn't have to pay to walk down the street. Pay with my comfort, my freedom, my peace. Always on guard, on edge, off limits. Don't follow me. Don't touch me. Don't treat me like I'm yours. I don't need your whistles, your comments, your eyes. I already know I'm a prize. My confidence isn't for sale. Respect me. Don't inspect me.
And when people ask us who can join UView, the answer really is anybody, and we mean anybody. Any major, any experience level. Some people, have a lot of experience coming out of high school, and others don't know how to really sit on a couch properly, and that's okay. We're here just to give you the chance to learn and have fun and prepare yourself for the real world. College, after all, it's all about trying new things. Welcome back. The cross-country teams were in action once again over the weekend.
And once again, Anna Shields won the women's race and set another school record.
Yeah, so far Shields has raced against 432 women. None have defeated her.
Now, Nick Kosiski ran in Saturday's race at Lock Haven University and joins us now. Now, Nick, how did the meet go? I heard it was hot. Did that play a factor?
Oh, the meet was definitely hot. It was almost as hot as my mixtape, but still, I still think everyone did a good job. It's not really like what you do during the meets, what you do prior. So I say everyone, was well hydrated. We knew it was going to be a hot meet. It was nothing unexpected, but the meet definitely went well. It was a nice change in scenery too. You go from the city to cornfields. That's where Lock Haven's at, So it's always a nice run, all flat, no hills, great stuff.
So you guys become children of the corn. Anna Shields, even though it was still hot, still wins. How have you seen her develop since she came to Point Park last year into the dominant force that she's been this year?
Wow. She, it's funny because we actually came on at the same time because I didn't run my freshman year for cross. I ran my sophomore year, and that's when she came on the team. And ever since then, just being being her teammate, because you hear news about her all the time. I feel like I'm running with a famous person. I mean, she is. So and she always does a good job. She motivates everyone. She's a team player. She even after races, she cheers on the guys, cheers on the girls. She's just a great person. I love her on the team. Anna, hi.
Now, she set a new school record with the 6K. How do you think she's going to fare in Louisville?
Oh, she's going to do great at Louisville. She's going to do great. I hear Louisville is a very competitive meet, and usually competitive meets are a lot better, more competition. You can really stride for something more, and I think that she's just going to crush it.
Louisville this weekend. Sean Hilverding, how has he been for the men's team?
My roommate. Oh, Sean has been great. Sean is, he's actually, I have an inside scoop because he's my roommate. He's been really talking about this upcoming meet, and he just keeps saying, how well he's going to do and how excited he is. And I'm really excited for him, too. I'm going to send him the best good luck text message that morning.
All right, Nick, thanks a lot for the insight, and we'll look forward to how the team does this week, and we'll definitely be keeping tabs on you. So, Mike, Carmelo Anthony, he really might be on a different team this year.
Well, Josh, I don't know much about that, so Taylor Spirito is going to have the story for us. Taylor.
Fill us in. Yeah.
Thanks, Josh and Mike. National anthem protests continued this past weekend in the NFL. The Jacksonville Jaguars and Minnesota Vikings chose to join arms and kneel for the national anthem at their respective games on Sunday. The Tennessee Titans, Seattle Seahawks, and Pittsburgh Steelers chose a different route, removing themselves completely from the field during the anthem. The remaining teams chose to stand and join arms to show unity as a team and to respect each other's personal opinions. These stances were in response to President Trump's various statements, where he called for a boycott of the NFL and the firing of those refusing to stand. In other news, the New York Knicks traded 10-time All-Star shooting guard Carmelo Anthony to the Oklahoma City Thunder for Enes Kanter, Doug McDermott, and the 2018 Chicago Bulls second-round draft pick. Prior to the trade, Anthony spent 6 seasons with the Knicks. He will join the likes of 2017 NBA MVP Russell Westbrook and All-Star Paul George in the Thunder's pursuit to take down the defending Golden State Warriors that were champions last year. Now onto the MLB. New York Yankees rookie sensation Aaron Judge broke the MLB record for the most home runs by a rookie during the regular season. Judge surpassed Mark McGwire's record of 49 home runs after hitting 2 homers in the Yankees' 11-3 victory over the Kansas City Royals yesterday. Judge now has 50 home runs with 6 games left to go in the regular season. Finally, a young Yankees fan has been hospitalized after being hit in the face by a foul ball off third baseman Todd Frazier's bat. The family has confirmed that she is okay, but is still asking everyone to keep her in their thoughts. This incident calls upon the question of expanding the netting at ballparks in order to prevent other injuries similar to this. There's been no word on plans to proceed with these extra safety precautions.
Thanks a lot, Taylor. And the Pirates this year, Mike, added netting along the first and third base line there in front of the dugout. Have you been there to a game to see that netting?
No, I've not been to a game this season. This is the first time probably my entire life I've not been to one.
Oh, interesting. Well, tonight and tomorrow are their last games, but the netting, anyways, at PNC Park that they put up, fans had no complaints because they could still see it was like this material that was almost transparent, but not, that didn't affect the game at all. So the question now is, does this netting get mandated? And does the commissioner and the league step in and say all teams have to have this? Because I was watching a clip of Mark Teixeira. He said, I got to a point in my career where I stopped watching when a ball went into the stands. That's going to be terrifying. Have you ever sat that close to a game?
Yes, I have, but luckily I never had anything come close to me. I always want to catch a foul ball, but I don't want to take one off the face.
I've got a couple foul balls in my life with me and the people sitting with me, and I went to a minor league game, we'll wrap with this, in Lexington, Kentucky. And the Lexington Legends, the single-A affiliate of the Kansas City Royals, they do not have any netting beyond just the home plate area. So even when you're sitting behind the dugout, you have to be on your toes at all times, and fans these days just want to go to a game, relax on their phones, and just eat the popcorn that's there. So thanks a lot again, Taylor. That's all we have for the national news. Well, coming up, we're going to debate. It's the case of the week. What sport is the toughest to go pro in? We'll be right back.
One is the loneliest number that you'll ever do. Two can be as bad as one. It's the loneliest number since the number one.
Mirror, mirror on the wall. Does not matter if I'm short or tall. If I have skinny legs or my hips are wide. It only matters who I am inside.
Blue eyes, brown eyes, black or green. What makes me most beautiful cannot be seen. When you look at me, don't judge me by my parts.
The most beautiful thing about me is my heart.
Good evening and welcome to Newsnight. I'm Josh Troop alongside Jess Paterchak.
Take a look at the 5-day forecast.
You might have already burned your bracket, ripped it up, or put it through a paper shredder by now.
British Prime Minister Theresa May officially triggered Article 50 on Tuesday.
The World Baseball Classic has concluded with Team USA winning its first title in 4 WBC tournaments.
And that is your news tonight. With Royce Jones, I'm Danis Marrero. Have a great night.
Welcome back. Going pro in any sport is a feat that few achieve.
But which sport is the hardest to make the leap from amateur to professional? It's time for the Embrace Debate segment of the week, the case of the week. We got Megan Masiosi, Jared Davis, making his sideline debut, Zach Thrasher. His last name is Thrasher. Don't let it intimidate you, though. We're going to start with Megan on this. Seniority goes first. What sport is the toughest to go pro in and why?
I have the NHL because, according to the Huffington Post, you only have a 16th% chance to get into the NHL from high school or college.
So like 1/16th?
Like 1/16.
Period.
Yeah, period.
Okay, so you got stats on your side.
Yes.
Jared, what sport?
I said soccer because since I played soccer all throughout high school.
You're biased.
Okay.
Go on.
So I tried to play for Point Park. I didn't get an email back quick enough, but
yeah.
So from playing soccer and all that, I've seen very few go into the MLS, and if you go to the international level, very few, unless you go to the academy when you're really like 5 or 6, you will never make it to a top flight league.
Thrasher.
Football. You just got to look at it. All the other sports like the NHL, they have a lot of developmental leagues. They're still pro. They're still making money, so technically they're still a pro. The NFL does not have a developmental league. So there is only 32 teams in the league, and most of the teams over in Europe and Asia don't play football.
Why are they wrong and why are you right?
I'm right because there's only 32 teams, whereas the NHL, they have the NHL, the
31
AHL.
teams in the NHL.
Right, and they have the AHL because they play for money, so technically they're professionals.
Do you consider the CFL in the professional? Because I think you have to.
I do. If you're going to consider
including
ours,
all
you
of
need to
this.
consider yours as well.
But that's not the NFL's developmental football league.
What about arena football where Kurt
Arena
Warner
football is an
played there?
entire different game.
Arena football.
I mean, I like how you threw it in there.
Football.
I really
They still get
appreciate
paid.
it.
If you get paid, you're a professional.
Yeah, but I look at it this way. Through colleges, if we're going to say amateur, I mean, to me it's high school or college, there's only 60 ice hockey programs in the entire U.S. to go to for hockey. Whereas for football, there's 128. So you have a better chance, I think, from the NFL because there's more programs. You have a bigger shot of even getting picked up from high school. Whereas hockey, you don't. And if you're a U.S. player, you're also competing with the Russians, the Canadians. It's so much harder than the NFL.
The international pool is an interesting
See, with
point,
the
Jared.
hockey, too, they have the CHL, which is where all the best players, if you're young enough, go. Connor McDavid came out of there, Sidney Crosby, Mario Lemieux, Wayne Gretzky. If you don't go there and you go to college, there's a very slim chance. But a lot of the players who do get drafted go there because they're that amazing.
I will add the number of college athletes going pro in the NHL has increased dramatically in recent years. Why are you right? Why are they wrong?
I'm right because college definitely, I think, helps the NHL players, but not as much. I think they're competing more. If you want to go the internationally route with soccer, add that into it, they're competing with many more countries. Players, so I think that's why it's harder to make it to the NHL.
Soccer also competing with multiple countries.
Yeah.
Why are you right and why is Megan wrong? We'll leave out football with this purpose just for the international argument.
All right, so for soccer, I'm going to go for international teams-wise instead of specific club teams because it's easier to gauge sometimes. I'm going to use the U.S. for example. Without, there's not many, U.S. is not very good at soccer because I guess most people wouldn't see it as a good sport, I guess. I don't know how to explain it. But, with them competing against teams like Brazil where they consistently play soccer, you're England, which that's, their #1 sport.
It's life.
Yeah, that is life for them. Same with Spain, Italy. If, competing against them, no one from the U.S. will make it except for, a few players like Christian Pulisic or Landon Donovan.
I was going to counter that. I'm sorry. There's more soccer teams. You have the European Union. You have it down in South America, Mexico, Central America, and the U.S. So you can go to any of those teams. I mean, David Beckham is from Europe, England specifically, but came over and played in the MLS.
The MLS is just a retired league for good soccer players. So
it's still professional league.
Yeah, you're not
still
wrong.
Professional though.
So okay, the also at the NHL, he said old players come over. Look at Yager. He is still playing.
And he's good.
He's good.
Yeah.
He's good though.
He's one
He
of the few.
doesn't have a team right now.
Which is shocking. Which is very shocking that he doesn't have a team. But there's for NHL, a lot of older players are so amazing, and they just don't get the chance.
It's because they're the best athletes in the world.
Yeah.
Thrasher, why are they wrong? We said why you were right. I need you to counter them. Yeah. They've been countering each other.
All right, here we go. 2.5% of college players are D1 athletes in football. Only 1.7% of them go pro. I mean, you gotta.
Still, only a 16th of all players in the NHL make it to the NHL. So
Yeah,
mine is still smaller than yours.
So wait, it's
Still.
1% of 2%?
Yeah.
Would that be so? I'm not great at math.
I don't.
1% of 2%. We're
That's a lot of math.
I don't
He's
have
got
my
a calculator. Yeah.
I don't know.
So, with the NHL, there are a ton of developmental leagues there, which are all considered pro. Football, you go to college. What other ways are there to get to the NFL other than college?
There really isn't any. I mean, because you're mandated if you play NCAA Division I, you have to stay for 3 years, mandated. So you have to stay there 3 years. So I mean, you could, I guess, I don't think you can go out of high school.
Not anymore.
So you have to go those 3 years. That's your developmental league. So I mean, I don't know.
We only have a few more seconds left. You get one more chance. You get 3 words. Why is your sport the best, Megan?
My sport's the best because it has 16% chance to get into the NHL. Statistics.
Mine just goes against every other country in the world.
I don't know.
Well, that doesn't help either.
Thrasher will come back eventually. Who's your winner?
I think I am going to go with Megan in the NHL.
I wanted to go football.
So I was thinking
because
it too.
football had better points, but if you're looking at just the debate, Megan came prepared with the stats, which you guys did too. We'll get you in the win column eventually. That's all the time we have for this week.
Make sure to join us next week on the Pioneer Sideline.
At the same Pioneer time,
same Pioneer place,
and the same Pioneer Sideline.